So I wrote the life story of a mafia associate who worked for the Bonanno crime family. Did you have any dealings with Joe Bonanno Sr.?
I love Joe Bonanno Sr. You're not going to believe this. They just cast me to play Joe Bonanno Sr.
No way.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
I was good friends with Bill, his son. I went
Yeah,
down a couple of times.
they
Bring
were
back.
my neighbors up in the Catalina foothills in Tucson when I lived in Tucson up there.
Wow. I didn't know you were such a acclaimed writer.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers. Yeah, I've got 13 books out right now.
That's great.
Yeah, so have you got any Bonanno stories?
I have so many Bonanno stories, man. I was with, well, I don't know if, well, you wrote the book, so you knew his connection in Sicily.
I wrote a book about a mafia associate who worked for the Bonannos.
Oh,
He came up under Charlie Bats Battaglia was the lieutenant,
oh, yeah.
and then this guy branched out on his own. So didn't know all the inner workings of the Bonannos.
Oh, no. Oh, thank God you stopped me.
But if you've got a notable Bonanno story, we could do.
Not really. That would only incriminate me.
Okay, you got to keep a lid on that.
Yeah, I knew him well. I didn't like what he stood for. You know, then obviously, maybe you don't know. He and Joe Pavacci, were going to assassinate Gambino, take over New York. And the only reason Joe Colombo got a family, he left the Pavacci family and warned them. And that's when they gave Joe an ultimatum: go back to Sicily or go to Arizona and be exiled. And then they killed a couple other guys. But no, I know. I've been around that. See, most people don't know. I used to see Carlo Gambino have just respect for get the Jello and pudding for me, and have his niece give me a hug. So when I got out of the hospital, I'd leave the bakery in the morning. He always had coffee at Ferrara's, which is still there on Grand between and Mulberry Street, right on Grand Avenue. So I used to stay and just give my respects. Unbeknownst to me, my great uncle on my father's side, Angelo Russo, in 1949, was hung in Sicily when they were doing the crackdown on La Cosa Nostra. Well, in 1919, he sent Vito Genovese, Frank Costello, and Carlo Gambino to America. That's why they gave me so much respect. People say, why do you accept it everywhere? Not because of me. My uncle was they hung him. He wouldn't open his mouth. And they hung him in the square so everybody could see it, which only made him more respected. So when I told Costello finally on the streets of New York, what's my name? I said, Gianni Russo. He said, who's Angelo Russo to you? I said, Angelo Russo, my great uncle. He said, oh yeah, when's the last time you saw him? I said, I never saw him. Why would you ask me that question if you know him? He said, I want to know what you know. I said, what I know is that they hung him in 1949. He said, how is you the great uncle? I said, my grandfather's brother. So he says to Blackie, who I thought was his friend, was his bodyguard, he said, take that cigar box. I was selling ballpoint pens. I was a kid. I said, you ain't taking my cigar box. He gave me 3 $100 bills in 1952.
Wow.
I'm saying, he said, you never do this again. He said, you know where the Waldorf is? I said, yeah. You be there under the clock in the lobby at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I was there at 10 o'clock. And I stayed there until 73, until he died. I was with him around all that time.
So that was under Mussolini, that story that you just said in the beginning. And was it Lucky Luciano turned the tables?
Yep. Yeah, well, Lucky Luciano made the deal. And they helped him.
And did that then facilitate drug smuggling by the mafia that was protected by the CIA?
Yep. Well, you know more than I do. But as you know, the International Longshoremen's Union were guarding the waters. They found German ships off the coast of New York. But 3 miles out, they couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. But they used the Italians to infiltrate it. And they got, their due of what they can do or can't do.
So what was your relationship with El Chapo?
It came on later on. I had, they took it from me. I had a house in Mexico that I had in Rosarita Beach, which got into the drug war, basically. And I had 40 cars down there, and a couple of his people stole some of my cars. So I have a connection to him through his lawyers. And he said, Gianni, I know you don't need any money, but if you need any money for your cars, guy's making $5 million a week. He says, I'll give you the money. He said, but don't come down here no more. And the fact that I took out Lorenzo Morales, one of their main traffickers, a lot of guys didn't like me. So I had all different fascisms that said, you're a nice kid, but don't come around here no more.
So how did you get the part in The Godfather? How did you begin in acting?
My ego, I always wanted to be an actor, but I heard about the trials and tribulations. So I'm in LA at this time, running a couple of things, and I read the newspaper in 1970 or 71 that Joe Colombo, who's now the Joe Colombo of the Colombo family, is picketing the FBI building and protesting the book The Godfather. So I know their mindset. So I follow in this, and they blow up the gates of Paramount. Those gates are 3 stories high to send a message. So I fly to New York on a whim, and I'm in the lobby of the Gulf and Western building. Charlie Bluedorn just bought Paramount. So I'm sitting in the lobby, and here comes Stanley Jaffe, Bobby Evans, all these guys. I took the red eye right from the airport. I flew there. I'm dressed to the nines, and I see Bobby Evans. Hey, Bobby. He says, yeah, I said, I'm a big fan of yours, but you have a problem with the Italian mob. He said, no, we have no problem. I said, excuse me. I know you have a problem. I could straighten it out. He's wait down here. So I don't know if he went upstairs to call anybody, FBI, anybody. Some secretary comes down. Naomi figured that out. She's Stanley Jaffe's secretary, and he's the president. So now I go up, and he says to me, how are you going to straighten this out? I said, well, I have very close friends here. I said, they're protesting what's in the book, because I called Barry Schlotnick, who's a very close friend of a lawyer friend of mine in New York. I read that Barry Schlotnick is representing them. So I called Barry. I said, Barry, what's the big problem? The way they're denouncing guineas and wops, and they're making them look like animals. He's Jewish. I said, if I can intervene here, you get me, to see people have to see. He said, definitely. So I tell them, I can straighten this out. I said, why don't you offer me with the book, The Godfather? I said, why don't you let me arrange a sit down? I'll bring them here. Because I knew they weren't going to go nowhere. They said, you could do that? I said, yeah. I said, how about I bring Joe Colombo here? And Barry Schlotnick, who's his attorney, and we'll sit down civilly and see if we can work this out. He said, you could do that? I said, give me permission. I'll set it up. Their office, my luck, is right down the street of 59th Street on Madison Avenue. That's where the Italian Defamation League office was. So I walked down there, and I said, Barry, I got a meeting set up. He said, well, Joe's in the other room. I go in and hug Joe. Hey, Joe, all that. I said, Joe, I said, you have a tremendous opportunity to make money here. That's all it's about with these guys. I said, they agree to change what you want changed in the script. Let Barry read it, give you all the notes, you make the changes. If they give those notes to you, you get the union cooperation, the locations in the neighbor cooperation, and I'll get us. Notice I said us now. I said, I'll get us all the world premieres in every major city in America. He said, how are we going to make money? I said, you'll sell the ticket for $100 a head. That would be the hottest ticket in every area. So he looks at Barry. He says, Barry, you think that sounds right? He says, It sounds good to me. So they gave me the permission. I said, 10 o'clock tomorrow, Gulf and Western Building, 33rd floor. I said, do yourself a favor, though, because I knew some of this crew. Frankie Boy DeChico, Butterass, all those guys. I said, bring some of them with them, because that's your image with them. And guess who he brought with him? Lenny Montana, who was collecting from, who eventually played Luca Brasi in the movie. So imagine that walking in with all these suits, all these mob guys, and on the other side of the table is the most legitimate people in the world. They didn't know what was going on. So I had the whole meeting. I introduced everybody. I said, I'm only going to make it even more suspicious. I said, I'm only going to introduce Mr. Costello and Mr. Swanek. The rest of the people's names you don't want to know. Like, hey, I said, here's what they're going to do. Barry's going to read it. If you okay it, we'll come back. So they read it. A couple days go by, we come back. So now we're sitting there. They're all going to shake hands and this, that, and the other. So I tapped Joe. I always sat next to Joe. I said, Joe, what about me? So he says, yeah, what about my boy here? He said, oh, we're going to give him a part. He wants a part in the movie. We'll give him a part. I said, excuse me. All due respect, Bobby, talking to Bobby Evans. I said, I don't want a part. I play Michael, Sonny, or Carlo. So that's when we went on to say, your audience don't know this. Well, Michael's been cast. James Caan is playing Michael. I said, well, who's playing Sonny? They said, Carmine Caridi. He's on Broadway right now. They thought he should be a big guy. Carmine Caridi is 6-something. He was in The Man from La Mancha. I said, well, who's playing Carlo? I said, we didn't get to that part yet. So I said, Joe, I want to play Carlo. So he looks at them. He's playing Carlo. That's how I got the part.
That is the hustle of a lifetime.
It changed my life. Think about it. Here we are 48 years later since the release. And I'm still, my book, I got away with using Hollywood Godfather. I thought they'd tell me I can't use it. But I proved to them it's a religious term. I'm a godfather of 54 kids. You can't tell me I can't use it. And I guess, the literary people said, he's right.